Alrighty, welcome to another episode of the Truth on Trial here today. My name is Paul Thomas, and we're going to be talking about Tales of the Trails, what goes on the trails. And I want to hear about your adventures too. You can actually request to go on live here and give your opinion and story. Would love to hear about that. So let's actually get started here. I've been hiking for at least 8 years from Meetup. That would be Vegas Hikers on Meetup. And Vegas Hikers Meetup, if you're not familiar with Meetup at all, it's an app, and they have many hobbies and sports and things that you can be a part of. You just sign up, it's free. And you just choose a group that you like, or a hobby that you like, and I'm sure that they have it. If they have knitting, I'm sure. If you like knitting, that they have it. If you like bicycling, I'm sure they probably have it. Camping, anything like that, I'm sure they have it. And you can be a part of their community. Well, I love hiking and outdoors, so I belong to Vegas Hikers, which is 29,000 members to date. That's a lot of people. Just a tad. I think it's the largest group here in Nevada, or I think in the United States, but I'm not too entirely sure. But it's a very large group. We've got somebody here going on as a guest here. Let's see what we've got going on here real quickly here, because I want to hear your stories too. Let me see here real quickly. Let's see here. See, how do we do this? Oh, I guess it's not going in. Anyway, so I've been hiking for about 8 years, and in that time, I have done a lot of things like hiking, and I don't do much scrambling, which is another form of. It's like scrambling on rocks. You know, it's kind of something that you do like in Red Rock. I don't like. I'm afraid of heights. I have a real big fear of heights, which I'm sure. Call me crazy. I like the ground. But I have done scrambling. I mean, I kind of do scrambling here and there. Hello. Hello, everyone here. We got Michael joined. We've got Twimpy here. Jimmy. I feel like I'm murdering these names. I can't see. Just hit tap like, hit follow, get your friends join in today, because it's going to be an interesting topic. We're talking about Tales of the Trails here. And usually I don't do a lot of scrambling, but I do a lot of hiking. And I've been hiking for the last 8 years. I've done, Whitney 3 times. That's at least 18, 19 miles, and it's an all-day affair, so it's out and back. Half Dome 3 times, Grand Canyon rim to rim, which is like 23, 24 miles in a day, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy hiking, but they're all class 1 trails. So, it's not, it's easy, but it's not as easy as it sounds, because it's just what doesn't have ascension usually has distance. And if anybody can do 24 hours in a day without blinking an eye, come join me. But it requires planning and training, a lot of mental work too, because if you've been hiking for hours on end, it can be quite monotonous. But you want to be hiking with somebody, not just by yourself. I don't think I see anybody going out there. Oh, let me do Half Dome or Grand Canyon rim to rim by myself. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's better along with somebody who knows the route. But there are some do's and don'ts when you hike, and I think they're extremely important. And let's see here. We have, who do we have here? Just 808. Hello, how are you guys doing? So when you're starting out hiking, as opposed to finding your group, you're gonna spend a lot of time finding your niche, finding a group that you align with. Vegas Hikers was the first group that I ever joined, and of course I had other groups besides that, but then I narrowed it down to I align more with Vegas Hikers than I do anything else, and so that's my main group. That's the only group. I think I only have like one group. I don't think I belong to like 4 or 5. I think I've deleted them as the time has progressed. But again, It's about consistency. It's about repetition. It's about training. I'm out there all the time. When I first started back in 2017, it's been 8 years, so 2017, I joined up with somebody here by the name of Pastor Jim. He's not a real pastor, he makes a joke about that, but he's very experienced. He came up and developed a series called the Charleston Series out here in Las Vegas, through Vegas Hikers Through Meetup. And it's very popular, extremely popular. Everybody joins. I think out of the 29,000, which is sad, and I'll get back to that in about a minute. I think about initially on the very first hike of the series, the Charleston Series, I think 50 people signed up for that hike. It was a very large group. And Pastor Jim's the only leader. He's the CEO. He designed that just for that purpose. And the reason he designed the Charleston Series is to help people summit Mount Charleston here outside of the Las Vegas Valley here. Mount Charleston is not easy. It's not impossible, but it's not easy. And that's the training that he does to help you summit. And he's trained, I think, 100 and almost close to 100 people now, safely, successfully to the summit of Mount Charleston. And I've done it since 2017. I think I've done it like 8 or 9 times. Now I'm just helping other people. I'm training other people to do that, to help them summit. And that's what all the training is. So I've done, there's 8 hikes. It's 8 progressive hikes. So they start out easy and then they get harder to train you to at least become comfortable with elevation. You have to acclimate yourself to elevation first before you do anything. And so I've joined that for the last 8 years, and I've helped for the last 3 or 4 years help other people realize their dream of bucket. Maybe Charleston was their bucket list, or they'd done that. Outside of that, Half Dome, Mount Whitney, Grand Canyon, rim to rim, Langley, which is the sister to Mount Whitney, and then let's see what else do we have? The 5th hardest day in America, the 5th hardest day hike in America is Cactus to Clouds, which is in Palm Springs, California. Hello, Brenda. How are you? Thank you guys for joining. We're talking about Tales of the Trails, and I'm in just a bit here. I'm going to take a break and get some people on here if they want to chat about their stories, because I think it's fascinating to hear other people's stories on the trails, if they've ever hiked. I don't know. Let me just see here real quickly. Do we have anybody here? No? Okay. So if you guys want to chat in, you guys can be live on with me. You guys can actually choose to come on here, and we can have you on to discuss. Maybe you have an adventure you want to share with us here on the Truth on Trail. That'd be actually fascinating. I love that. It's not just about doing the same hikes over and over and over again. It's about stepping outside your comfort zone, your boundaries. And maybe, it's funny because a lot of people say, well, why don't we just go hike rim to rim, 24 miles? Why don't we just do that? What's your training regimen for that? And I'm like, well, my training regimen, there is no, training implies that maybe you don't get out much and you want to know what I do to train for hikes like Grand Canyon. And the thing is that I'm always out there. I'm always out on the trail. So everything I do now is just sort of maintenance, because I have dealt with hiking long distances and elevation and ascension. And so that makes a big fat difference in the fitness training that I helped develop twice a year. Let's see. We have. Hello. How are you? I can barely see. So it does make a difference. It's not just about training. It's not just about training for 2 months and then going on it and then stop training. You want to you want to have repetition. You want to have consistency. You want to be out all the time. That's how I do that. That's how I'm able to do these hikes, not back to back. That's a little bit too ambitious, although I have done that. And it's not good. You do want to give your muscles and your body a break every now and then. But Yeah, I mean, it's been an exciting adventure for the last 8 years. Um, and now I'm starting a new series in September, training those who don't have that many hikes under the belt and who are afraid to join up because they don't know. They don't know what it's like. They're afraid to step outside their comfort zone. They're used to staying at home. They're used to sitting on the couch, doing whatever. I mean, there's no judgment here. It is what it is. But now they want to come out, and I've got 29, almost like 31 people signed up. That's a lot of people. 31 people signed up on my series for upcoming series on the 21st of September, by the way. So that's a lot of people. And so I'm going to have to get them used to a routine that they might not be familiar with. And one of the first things that I'm going to introduce to them, and what I'd like to start introducing here, and if you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask in the comment section here. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to redo this here real quickly. And then here in the room here, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, feel free to drop it, and I'll try and answer them as I go along and progress in the show here today. Hello, Rachel. How are you? Hello. So one of the first things that I like to introduce to people who are just fresh on the trail. Let's assume they have not been out on the trail, and this is their first time. So one of the first things I'm going to introduce to them is their inner compass. Do not just blindly follow the leader. Don't do that. Know where you're at all times. Okay, the moment you get out of the car, look for any identifying trail markers, landmarks, anything you could do to identify where you're at. Because if you have to turn back, how are you going to know where you're at? It's extremely important to do that. The second thing is, actually, let's back up just for about a moment, because this is extremely important. This is actually first and foremost what I try. Hello, Jenna, Andy, and Mom. Hello. Hit follow, hit like. I'm going to be having some more shows. We're talking about Tales of the Trails today. And if you guys want to sit and join, you most certainly can. You can also request to go on live, and maybe you have a story to share. So the very first thing that you should do when you're signing up for a hike is don't just sign up because it looks good or sounds good. Oh, I've always wanted to do that. No, don't do that. If you've never hiked before, you could overestimate your skill level and your ability. So they should, and I'm just saying should, at least what I do when I'm organizing a hike. And let me give you an example here. That way you guys understand what's in a description page. It's called a description page. It describes the event, describes the hike, describes what is required and what is requested of you. So let me do this real quickly. What a description is here of the hike, so that everybody is on the up and up. So I'm going to go to the description page of this particular. It's called the Trail Readiness Series, Middle Creek to South Oak Creek. So it tells you the very first thing. I do this. I don't know about any other organizers, but there's only so much you can put into a description page. But I try put as much as I can. No, but not everybody's going to read the entire thing, but just enough so that they can't come back and say, well, you never said that. So details. You got the title, Trail Readiness Series, Middle Creek to South Oak Creek. That's right there. It tells you where you're going. It tells you the location. Details. And I always say, please read the entire description. You've got to. And then it says note. Again, if you have not, so there's a waiver too. If you haven't hiked with me before, you need to sign a waiver because there's liabilities. I don't want everybody now is sue happy these days, and they can just sue you for anything. So we have a waiver to sign. That's first and foremost. If you have questions, I give you my number because, of course, if you've got a question, there's, a closed mouth never gets fed. And of course I go on to say you must be a member of Vegas Hikers, you have to have an updated profile of yourself, and then I describe the series so people understand what they're getting into. What is the series about? It's an 8-hike progressive series spread over 2 months that will train you and cover topics like trail etiquette, GPS and your inner compass, pace, distance and understand a basic hike description. And they'll also learn about teamwork, which is extremely important, because if you're by yourself on a hike, there's no teamwork. You're all by yourself. What are you going to do if something happens? you're screwed, basically. Unless you have your phone with you, but if your phone goes out and your battery goes out, then you have nothing. What if there's nobody on the hike? See, all these things I'm going to be training you guys on. And then the first 4 hikes are just about learning. That's it. It's just about learning trail etiquette, clothes to wear, boots to wear, tips, maybe something about scrambling a little bit here and there. And then the final 4 hikes will be putting all that knowledge that I've given you over the first 4, you'll be putting that into action on the last 4 hikes. Okay. You'll be learning, the essential skills of hiking. Pacing and trail etiquette and all that stuff. What I've told you on the first 4 hikes, you'll now be putting that to action on the last 4. So it's kind of like, know-how and the training sessions, you'll be putting that to work. So once you accomplish that, you'll have a sense of knowledge of what to expect when you go out hiking. Some of the people, the demographic of these hikes, I'm going for people who have 25 hikes or less, and some of these people might be overweight. They might be trying to turn over a new leaf. They might be wanting to, I've never done this, or some people just want to get the pin, because you get a milestone pin after this once you complete. So there's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of working parts that goes on. So reading the description, it gives you the place, the time, where to meet. If you're carpooling, it gives you all kinds of information. The very first part of the hike, in my view, starts with the description. That's where the hike starts. Okay, it starts with the description. If you don't know any, if you're just going to skim over it and then sign up, that's not doing you any favors if something happens to come up during the hike. Well, I didn't read that. Well, you said you read it, because when you signed up, a dialog box comes up. I have it set, a pre-question. There are 3 questions that I give, that I ask. And have you read the description? Okay. Are you able to carpool? Things like that. And it makes you stop and think, oh wait, did I read that? So reading the description is the start of the hike. Okay, not just physically, but reading and understanding what's involved and where your part comes in on the hike. So that's where that starts. Now, when I'm starting on a hike, and we get some distance away from the parking lot, okay, we're hiking at a moderate pace. I'm not going to be Olympically sprinting, because a lot of people don't know, can't do that. They haven't mastered that skill of pacing themselves. They don't even know what their skill level is yet, much less anything else. So they're just starting out. So it'll be training them to understand their own pace. Their pace should be congruent with their skill level. Okay, and they're just now starting out, so I'm not going to be going fast. And then when we get a reasonable distance from the parking lot, I'll introduce GPS coordinates and your inner compass. How to sharpen your inner compass, because that's important, because we're going to be making a turn. And by making that turn, if people aren't aware, consciously observant of where they're at, and if something happens, or if they want to turn around for some reason, how are they going to find themselves? How are they going to find their way back? And that's also very important too. So that's, just as equally as important, your inner compass, because what if your phone dies? A tech can only go so far. If your phone dies, or something happens and your phone breaks, or you lose your phone, how are you gonna find your way back? I know a lot of people like to use All Trails or Gaia app that gives you like real live geographical location, and that's okay up to a point until your phone dies. Reading a map, I actually might do that, helping people actually read a paper map, because they're kind of antiquated these days, but it's also very helpful. So that's also something to take into consideration. Why don't we take a break here real quick, and let's see who's on here, if they want to join in and give their experience on the trails, if they've had any exciting, or if they even haven't, or maybe they have a question. Let's see, we have George here. Hello, George. Joined. Hello. If anybody wants to join in the conversation, I can bring them in. They can discuss, they can talk. Maybe they have something to share. Maybe they have something to help warn people against, and they've gone through it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So I usually like to start out easy on the trail and then further in as we get more progress on the hike. So, when I first started on the hike, I thought I knew everything, and of course I didn't. And that was the first year of hiking. And one of the things that I found my skill set is that I have I can memorize trails. I can memorize trail systems really easy. There's maybe one trail system out here in the Valley of Fire that I can't stand. It's very confusing. But for the most part, I have photographic memory. I can actually memorize trail systems. And I'm extremely fast. Matter of fact, I pick up speed because I've mastered myself to pick up speed because that's my natural pace. And one of the things that people are going to find is that they're going to find out their pace, their medium pace, and they're going to stick with it. There are two speeds. No, actually, three speeds. Hello. What is it? Little T joint? Hello. Two speeds, possibly three. Because when you're out on the trail, you want to find your medium speed and stick with it. It'll take some time to master it, but once you get it, once you find your pace, it's going to increase and it's going to sharpen once you're consistent with your hiking. Once you get outdoors and you're consistent. And that's the one thing that's actually very important too, because you don't want to. The whole point is to progress, is to get better, not go backwards on the trail. Now, let me go over here real quick. I'm going to start with here because I want people to understand something. The most important form of communication, and I've always thought this, and I could never understand why people don't do it. But that's walkie-talkies. Walkie-talkies are extremely essential for carrying. It's not just ornaments on your person. Okay, it's not just to look cool. They're life-saving devices. And I heard somebody say, well, we don't want to give the illusion of security in communication just because you have a walkie-talkie. I mean, that's not all about. It's not carrying a walkie-talkie does not automatically mean that you have safety and the illusion of security and all that. And I'm like, well, okay, so your phone dies and you don't have a charger and you're in the middle of nowhere and you've lost yourself. Let's say you're, 10 minutes behind. What do? You don't have any kind of communication. Now, there's a reason I say this, is because we're having search and rescue the very first day I come out of the hike. And it's going to coincide with the walkie-talkies because that's first and foremost. Walkie-talkies are essential because it's communication between groups. I always carry it even when there's just me and somebody else. You have to. You got to have that communication going. Working walkie-talkies. Invest in real quality walkie-talkies. Ones that usually have, think about, maybe a 40 to 50 mile radius on a clear day. Those usually you find, and you can usually spend maybe close to $100 on a pair. I have ones that are, I just recently purchased a set of 3, and I think it was like $130. And it was Midland, I think. Yeah, Midland. It was Midland. Midland walkie-talkies. And I thought, these are really good. I also have a Rocky-talkie, R-O-C-K, walkie-talkie. Very sturdy, very robust. It's meant for hardy hikes, and you can bang it around. I mean, it's really good. I wish I had it with me here. But yeah, walkie-talkies are not just for hanging on your person to look cool. It's extremely important to keep the communication open, because if you have a group of 30 people, which I'm going to have, you need certain people to carry a walkie-talkie in between. So I usually have my walkie-talkie, my main one, the sturdy one, the heavy-duty one, and then I can disperse the rest of the 3 among the group. So, and we have a designated person that carries the walkie-talkie, and usually we call them sweepers. Sweepers are the ones that are at the end, nobody behind, always in front of the sweeper, because the sweeper is in charge of making sure that nobody is left behind. Absolutely nobody. We don't want anybody left behind on a trail. Because what if that person stops to take a bathroom, and we're so far ahead that, maybe there's another path that looks similar and they don't know where they're at. And that's why it's very important to document and notice where you're at on a trail. But moreover, for the sweeper, they communicate to me, the head leader. All walkie-talkies, identify yourself first. Always identify yourself over the walkie-talkie. Hey, this is what you might give yourself pet names. But just so that you're identifiable. Hi, this is so-and-so. This is Robbie, and we're stopping to take a break, stopping to take a pee, and we'll be with whatever in like 5 minutes. And that gives me a chance to either slow down or stop, depending on the emergency or depending on the message. But it's extremely important to have that communication back and forth. And then the search and rescue, who's going to be on the very first of the hike, will explain what goes on their end. What is involved in a rescue mission? And the demographic for that is usually adults. Sometimes they have kids that are lost, whatever. It's kind of scary if your children's lost. But it's usually adults who get lost. They don't go up there with water. They don't go up there with food. They just take a trail and say, let's do this. It looks fun. And then they wind up getting lost, or they fell. They can't get out. They fell into a crevice. It's kind of scary. But ironically enough, this is what adults do. Sometimes they underestimate the power of nature. Nature always wins, especially if you're going on high elevation and you're not used to that. Or you're going on a trail that you're not familiar with the route. Never go with anybody alone. Always go with somebody. If you don't know the route, go with somebody who does. Don't go with somebody who doesn't, because it's like the blind leading the blind. Go with somebody who you trust. That's the whole point. Otherwise, you're going to get lost. And if you're going to go up to a trailhead that has many trailheads, many different parking lots at different ends and geographically and all that stuff, and if you don't know where you're at, and if you make a wrong turn on a trail, how do you know you're going to take the same trail back to that parking lot? You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Take somebody you trust, who knows the trails, like me. Take me along. I'll know the trails. I'll get you back. I'll get you safe. Even if I'm unfamiliar with the trail per se, I'll turn on my inner compass to say, no, you can't do this because it doesn't look right. It's not geographically right. We're supposed to be going north when we're going south. That kind of thing. But normally, I won't go on a route unless I know the route specifically, or I know that I can get myself back without a problem because I can memorize routes and trail systems and trail lines. I call them trail lines. I can memorize trail lines. And I know direction. I know the direction in which we need to be. I can always return, usually without an issue. But never go alone, people. Don't go alone. Always take somebody who is a little bit more experienced than you. I would say a lot more experienced than you. Don't go with somebody who just, haphazard. Okay, don't do that. It's very dangerous. Also, something to consider. Plan ahead. If you're going to go on a route, plan ahead. Always check the weather. Always check the current weather of that location. Like Red Rock, we always check the weather here. We don't go hiking. Well, a lot of people, experienced hikers, do not hike in 110 degree heat in the weather because it's dangerous. That's just not something you want to do. So you want to hike Everybody goes up where it's cooler, up to Mount Charleston, because it's cooler in the summer. And that's for the Charleston series. But you never want to hike unless you can do it. It's just dangerous. That's where SAR rescue, that's where rescue missions go. When people just, they don't think, and you can't think. When you're hot, you're exhausted, you have heat exhaustion, you can't think. And usually people are alone. You can't do that. You have to go with somebody. If you're going to do something that brazen, 110 degree heat, you're going to be hiking on a trail you're not familiar with, at least take somebody with you who is knowledgeable, and take water. You won't believe the amount of people who do not take water. We have somebody on who tried to join last year on our fitness hike, who didn't have water. Hello, Lindsay, how are you? Who did not have water. And he didn't have a backpack. He didn't have anything. He wasn't even prepared. And I wasn't about. And it was hot too. So it was like 3 o'clock and it was still hot. First of all, I wasn't about to let him on. I didn't know him. He signed up basically on the wrong day. RSVP'd for, I think it was a Tuesday. He signed up for Thursday, kind of just crashed our group. No water, no nothing. He's a liability. Automatically, when somebody doesn't have water and they don't have the essentials on them, they are now considered a liability. They're going to put the group at risk, because now they're going to put everybody their own risk for helping him. They're going to now, instead of collectively as a group, we're focusing on our pace, our survival skills. Now we have to worry about somebody else. We're putting our energy onto somebody else. And to me, that's kind of selfish. That's just not good. You can't do that. You're putting everybody else at risk, possibly. And again, it's just no, don't ever do that. Always bring enough water, food. If you're diabetic, bring what you need for for your medication. At least, and also let somebody know if you have a medical issue that needs to be addressed. That's also very important. And also, I can't preach this enough. Always carry your ID with you. Always carry. Don't leave it in your car. Okay, because what if your car gets broken into? Take it with you, because then you're identifiable. If you're not identifiable, how are we going to know who you are? If we need medic, or if we need search and rescue, who are you? We don't know who you are, and you're not even accounted for. So there's a liability. There's a liability all over the place, and it's just not wise. It's not wise. So make sure, number one, beginning to end, read the description. Make sure it is something that you can do. Okay? Make sure it's a hike that you're not going to overestimate yourself or underestimate yourself. Make sure. Now, I've heard a lot of people ask this too. Do you think I could do this hike? Well, I don't know. I don't know your skill level. You know your skill level. I don't know your skill. If you're asking me what your skill level is, then the answer would be no. Don't come along. Don't. Choose another group so that you can learn what your pace and your skill level, that you can sharpen it. Don't come to me and ask me a question in which I have to probably guess what your skill level. I don't know your skill level. You know your skill level. You know if you can do this or not. And always be extremely honest with yourself. If you're reading that description and it says scrambling, 50% scrambling, 50% trail, and you have exposure, that's a lot of things people don't take in consideration. Exposure is subjective. It's different to everybody. People could be walking on a trail line with maybe let's say a 10-foot drop on each side. That to them is exposure. That to them is dangerous. They just get the willy heebie-jeebies just doing that. Some people get, and I happen to agree with this, some people walk on a trail line and they have a drop, let's say 1,000-foot drop on either side. Well, that's exposure, because now you're risking your balance and your mentality and your emotion just on, trying not to fall. That's where the skills of that. It's all mental. It's all in your head. And I try not to put myself into those positions, but I'll do it. I mean, I'll do it. I'm not going to turn back and say I can't do it. Usually it's in my head, and I wind up doing pretty well. When you're reading a description, make sure it's a hike that you can do. Make sure it is something that you can do. And if you can't do it, if you're having doubts, then don't do it. do something else instead. Do another hike. There are plenty of hikes every single day. Vegas Hikers has a hike every single day. And if you don't like those hikes, join another group that you know your skill level. You know your skill level on that is aligned. So yeah, just, yeah, so there's a lot of variables. I guess, when I started hiking, I did do Mount Charleston a couple of times. I don't think I really had a problem with elevation, so that was never really the issue. And Pastor Jim, I told you, who was the creator of the series, had let me on without knowing my background. But I was confident that I could do it because I had been up there several times. So I guess that didn't look where I am today. That didn't matter. And of course, I just got done completing or summiting Wheeler Peak this last weekend. So that's also something. So taking all that into consideration, what I just outlined for you, okay? Read the description. The hike starts with the description. Make sure that you've got plenty of, because it'll tell you how much water and how much what you need. It should tell you gear. You know what? Instead of just surmising here, it should tell you. I always put hike quick stats. It's the stats on the hike. For instance, the trailhead, Middle Oak Creek, that's where you meet. Distance is 4 miles. Okay, it'll either be an out and back, out there and then back, or a loop, point to point. Elevation gain, it usually tells you your elevation gain. It'll also tell you the difficulty and the pace. Easy to moderate, easy, strenuous. Here I have, on the very first hike, I have easy to moderate, depending on group's overall pace. Class 1, meaning it's just straight trail, no exposure. Duration, I put how long it is, because people, have lives, and they don't want to be doing it an all-day event. So the duration is like 4 hours, and that includes driving and tailgating and doing all that stuff. And then it'll also tell you gear, what to bring. Hiking boots, you should be wearing hiking boots or trail shoes. Trekking poles, trekking pole, not ski poles, trekking poles. There are specifics. If you're comfortable with bringing them, you most certainly can. And then it tells you how much water. 2 liters of water, sun protection, snacks, and electrolytes, because you have to have that. I usually turn people away who don't have water or snacks, because now they're going to be relying on everybody else to do that. You don't want to be You don't want to be a liability. You don't want to be a risk factor. And then it tells you the carpool, tailgate, weather information. You should have absolutely no excuse not to be informed with this particular description page right here. And then I give you the tentative schedule for the following weeks. So that's it, basically, just for your little beginner. Starts with the description, read it over. If you can't do it, you can't do it. Don't put other people at risk. So now here is something, well, actually, you know what? Let's take a little bit of a break, because I'm sure maybe some people actually want to come in and say hello. Hello, Wildcat. What is it? Here we go. Okay, let's see here. Let's see if anybody wants to come in. Does anybody want to come in? Okay. If you guys want to share your stories, this actually would be a good one. Hi, Scott. How are you? This would be a good time. If you have a story or something, come on. I'll invite you in, and you guys can share your story if you have a story to share. Hello, Blue Nancy. How are you? If you guys want to, let me say hello. If you guys want to share a story, make sure I could just invite you in. You can share your story. If you have something, if you have a tip that I have not mentioned, it's pretty much the beginning of the show here. So anything that I haven't mentioned, or you want to share a story, come on, just invite yourself in. Okay, perfect. Let's see here. Let's see, what have we got going here? Okay. So, continuing on here, what's extremely important for trail etiquette? Okay. We've gone past that. We've got past, okay, and here's something else. We're going to talk about yielding rules. Rules on the trail are extremely important because there are rules that we have to abide by. You know, if you're going downhill or you're on an ascension, hello, Dennis. Just to remind everybody, if they have a story they want to share, request to share the screen or share the microphone here, and we'd love to hear what you have to say. If you have a tip or something like that, that's fine too. We'd love to hear that. If you have a story to share, that's also fine too. We've got some good people. I love it. So when you're going downhill and you have people coming up, the people coming up, the people who are ascending have the right of way. Okay, you step aside if you can, over to the side. Usually there's a shoulder, and if you can't, you step away as much as you can to let them pass. Usually I step over to the right, and they come up on my left. Now, there is a protocol you have to follow, and the reason you do that is because you don't want to have somebody break their rhythm and their momentum going up. Usually being is that you don't want to stop going uphill. Let's say you're going uphill, you don't want to stop, okay, in momentum, because then it's hard to continue on. It's hard to keep going on momentum, especially if you've got a long way to go up that ascension. You don't want to stop. So the same rule applies. When you're going up, they step aside. When you're coming down, you step aside. Common courtesy, common rules. It's very basic, and there's a lot. See, the funny thing is that you can tell out on the trail who's experienced and who's not, who knows the etiquette rules and who doesn't. It's usually, I won't be afraid to say this. I'll be the first one to say this. There's like teenagers or people, on their phone. They're coming down. They don't care. They're just dabbing away, and they're just coming straight at you. They're not even caring. They don't even step out of the way or apologize. They just walking around. And you know what? You know what I do? I walk straight up to them. I don't even care, and that forces them to move aside and be conscious. Look, it's not my mistake that they haven't learned yet the rules of etiquette and trail protocols. Okay, maybe someone should tell them. Talking on your phone, having your earphones in, not paying attention to what's around you, that's also very dangerous, because what if somebody's coming up to you and you can't hear them? A biker, a horse, a car for that matter, or an ATV, an all-trail vehicle coming up, and you can't hear them because you're talking on the phone, you're not paying attention, you're not being observant. You're just not following. I mean, you're basically breaking all protocol on the trail, and I don't think you want to be that person. So there are yielding protocols each of us are socially responsible for every step of the way. Let's see here. We've got Mike Nelly invites you to co-host. Okay, let's actually see this real quick for a second here. Hello.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
Hello.
What's the buzz, people?
Look at this. Sharp cuts over there.
It's what?
I don't know. It looks like it's called sharp cuts. Amazing cuts.
Oh, what are we doing here?
I don't know. I just requested random people.
Okay. Because I'm doing a show on trail etiquette and Tales of the Trails.
What are you doing?
I'm doing a show about Tales of the Trails, I'm discussing trail etiquette and stories. Do you have a story to tell that you've been on the trail?
A story I did on a trail.
Yeah, like hiking or anything?
That sounds like a bad story. I heard you put my stories in the woods in the trail.
Okay. Oh, do you have one?
Yeah. Well, I had a massive stomachache one day, and
Okay.
I went to the outside of the trail to take care of my business.
When was this?
No, that was probably like 7 years ago.
Oh, where do you go hiking?
I usually like mountains and anyone my ex girlfriend used to bring me.
Oh, nice. Where do you go? Where is your favorite hiking place?
Be honest with you, she always drove me. So it's probably Mount St. Helens, Washington area.
Okay, Washington. Isn't there Mount? What's up in Washington? What's the big mountain? What's the big peak over there?
Adams.
Mount Adams.
Is that one that's over there too? Yeah.
I
But
think.
I don't know. She brought me to the volcano. So
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Uh, Washington Mountain.
Washington
Okay, let's
State,
see.
not DC.
Oh, Mount Rainier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty naturally good at climbing mountains.
Oh, okay. Scrambling. Have you gone like with ropes or anything like that? Do you have any like tips or anything like that for our viewers?
Do not go rock climbing.
Oh, okay. You just hike, right?
I'm only a hiker. Yes.
Yeah. So, what's the longest? What's the longest you've hiked? Like, what's the longest distance?
20 miles.
Oh, 20 miles. Where was that?
It was going up and down some mountains.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Did you go any with anybody else, or was it just you?
That was my ex girlfriend again. She brought me up some mountains that I don't even know what names are there.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Now, was that the only hike that you've been on? 20 miles.
Um, yeah. I'm a pretty naturally good runner, and I do cross country for a living, so
Okay. Oh,
I can climb mountains. They're just like hills to me.
okay. Okay. But you also trail run.
Yeah. I do trails. I prefer trails because rocks.
Right.
I'm getting older now. One false move on a rock and it can mess my ankle up.
Yeah, that's actually that wouldn't be good. Um, yeah, that's yeah. So I live out here in the Las Vegas area, and there's plenty of we have Red Rock. Have you ever heard of Red Rock in Las Vegas?
Yeah, but you gotta be careful of the killer bees.
The what?
The killer bees.
Yeah, I don't know if they've reached here yet. They might be in Texas. I've heard last. I don't know if they've reached here yet.
No. Last time my guide said that you don't want to step right there because there's a hive.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. On
So they like to hide in the rocks, I guess.
Right, right. So on Friday, when we got to Baker, Nevada, we did a pre-hike up to Stella Lake to summit, to prepare to summit Wheeler Peak the next day. We found a hornet's nest. It was huge, and it was active.
Was it
We had a lot of, yeah.
what was it? Was it Japanese or Asian hornets?
I didn't get that close to ask. Matter of fact, it was
Actually, you can see they're massive. They're massive compared to the other hornets and
yeah, I
bees.
don't think they were massive. I think it was just a hornet's nest. I mean, they had some coming and going, but I think, yeah.
Okay. Continue the story. It sounds great.
Yeah, I don't think that they were really that large. I mean, in the picture, you could barely see them, so not as described as what you were talking. Not as big as you were describing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it was nice. I mean, I just took a couple of pictures of it. I put it onto Facebook, but it was what an extraordinary hike because it just shows you the real beauty of nature and how wild and feral it is. And I wouldn't have noticed it hadn't I, I just happened, because these were, I think, aspen trees. I just happened to look to the right and I just saw this big ball and it looked like, it looked like a hemorrhoid just attached to a tree. It was bizarre, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And,
and how the hive communicates with each other to create such a such a great hive.
yeah, yeah. And I think it was at least about a good, I want to say it was about a good 10 feet up. I mean, it was 10 feet tall. I mean, it was 10 feet. I was about, I'm 5'8", so it was probably about another 4 or 5 feet above me. I want to say it was
Okay.
really, yeah, it was kind of up there. I didn't want to get too close to it, but I couldn't help to take a couple of pictures of it just to respect the nature of it. So, I kind of went about my merry way on
Yeah,
that one.
I would have probably got too close to it, and because
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something with a hornet hive or a beehive. I don't know. There's something about it. I have to get close to them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're the
Until
rep.
yeah, until I get stung.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I applaud you for that. I would not want to get near something that vicious just for giggles. But you know, um, so I like
Yeah,
being paid.
most of the time a bee sting or a hornet sting won't affect most humans, but it'll give them a warning to stay away.
Well, unlike bees, unlike regular worker bees or honeybees, they can sting repeatedly. And
Yes, you're right. You're right.
yeah,
You
I
are
am
right
not a
about
fan
that.
of being stung repeatedly. I think I learned my lessons once with just a bee enough, not having a hornet
Eh,
or a wasp.
eh, 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 Wait a minute. Let me back that up. If I actually see a worker bee, a honeybee, I'm not gonna mess with them because they don't want nothing to do with me. But
Well, they're not.
hornets
They're
hornets
not.
are different.
They're not aggressive. Bees are not aggressive by nature, unless they're the killer bees. But they're not aggressive by nature. You know. Uh, they're
You're right.
just. Yeah. I mean, This is a funny story. This is kind of scary. Uh, Several years ago, I think about 2016, I was walking outside of my home, and we have a parking lot that I was kind of walking towards, and I saw this black cloud, and I thought, okay, this doesn't look good. What is this black cloud? And following the black cloud, the buzzing sound preceded it. And I'm thinking, oh crap! There's a hive of 1,000 bees heading directly into my direction. And the only thing I can think of was, this is how I die today. This is exactly, I'm going to die right now because I have a whole herd of them coming at me. And I'm standing there going, oh, this is just not happening. So anyway, they come around me for not even 10 seconds. And then all of a sudden they
Nothing to do
flew
with
off
you.
like they were going somewhere. Yeah, it was the weirdest
Yeah,
thing.
they want nothing to do with you.
Yeah, yeah. I think their hive got lost or their hive got destroyed and they're looking for a hive. It's the only thing I could ever think that what they're doing.
Yeah. So you have to find a queen,
Yeah,
and a lot of them will be attracted to their queen again. So,
yeah,
especially honeybees, they'll definitely be attracted to a queen, and
yeah,
they actually can. That if the queen accepts them, they can actually join a new hive.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But that was. I thought I was going to die that day. That was kind of like a scary looking thing,
No,
but
no, but if that was hornets, I don't think I'd be talking with you right now.
yeah, yeah. And I don't want to know if I'm, because you can develop allergic reactions. If I wasn't then, I could develop one now, and I don't want to ever find out. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
just not.
it's always good to have an EpiPen in your house. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
if you're not even allergic to anything, it's just for somebody else if they log into your or if they join your house, they
yeah,
stay at night, whatever, in my spare bedroom, whatever. It doesn't matter, but it's always good to have an EpiPen just for especially if you have a lot of guests in your house.
Right, right. Well, we're talking about. I think that's a good point. You have a good point because one of the things that I'm going to be discussing in the hiking series for newer people, inexperienced hikers, is to always carry medical supplies in your bag. You know, something like EpiPen, like you just were talking about. You know, if you have diabetes, if you have something that that you need to bring it. Especially if you're going to be in a crowd or if you're going to be in a group, they need to know what you have just in case something happens.
What about a simple medical bracelet? What about a simple medical bracelet?
That you could. Usually, I find that hikers usually aren't as prepared as they should be. They won't carry like all the necessities because they don't think beforehand. They don't plan ahead. They're only thinking of the moment, not planning what could happen. And I think a lot of the times, yeah,
it's also weight that they probably don't need from themselves. So they usually think about themselves to get up there. But sometimes it's also it's also nice to have somebody that has kind of a like a potpourri of items to.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to epic shock. You can hit them with the EpiPens.
Right.
A defibrillator is a little bit hard to carry up there, but that would help too. But I don't know who's going to carry a defibrillator with them, but.
Well, it's essential. It's essential. It's one of the things that should be carried because, a 2-hour hike can turn into a 10-hour hike if you're not prepared. Especially if you have medications or you have a box. What's the difference between life and death?
How many hikers are going to carry a defibrillator with them?
How many hikers what?
Are going to carry a defibrillator. The thing that shocks your heart back to life.
Nobody carries that. I don't think I don't think a heart fibrillator or whatever it is. I don't think that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the essentials that you can get by in an 8 to 10 hour hike. What you should be carrying on every single hike is just the necessities for you. If you have a heart attack, if you have a heart defibrillator,
can I get the 5 of them? Can I get 5 of them?
Yep.
The necessities, 5 of them right now.
You have 5?
No, can I hear your 5 that you want to bring with you? Your necessities, either help somebody or help yourself.
Yes, I have a small medical bag that has the essentials: Band-Aids, the peroxide, the iodine. I have hydrocodone, which in case somebody sprains their ankle, which, matter of fact, we have had twice SAR rescue missions on our hike. And we've given them, the medication that they need just until they arrive. And they've actually, it's been within about 2 or 3 hours, because usually that's how long a SAR rescue takes, search and rescue takes, depending on your location. Because sometimes they don't land right away. They have to circle around because they can't land in dense areas that they need to get to.
Yep.
So, yeah, you need to have just the essential, not like a heart fibrillator. I can't even pronounce the word. The machine that you're talking about.
A shocker. A shocker. They bring it back.
Yeah, a shocker. Yeah. It's the essentials that you need on a hike that you can foresee for an injury that is going to be minimal. Okay, everything else past that would be a search and rescue mission that would include whatever, the heart shocker. That's when that would come in. Everything else, your pill box, your electrolytes if you need any. What if you need some sugar? If you're diabetic, you need something a little bit more like your insulin. You carry all the necessities as you would when you're going out anyway. Those are essentials when you're going out hiking, because hiking is unpredictable, especially if you're going into a cooler area where it's mountainous, where they have their own biosystem. And you can't, Mother Nature always wins. You can't just go alone and assume.
You're right. Every biosystem has like I consider it like a different like chemistry with your body.
Right.
So
Right.
you don't know if you're allergic to whatever plants they have in that hike that you're doing. So
Right. Right. Yeah. So
yeah, be careful with that one.
yeah, and so yeah, when you're out, the average person doesn't carry a heart defibrillator. Thank you. If I did that right. Doesn't
A
carry.
shocker.
The average
A heart
person's not
shocker.
going to carry that. You're right, but what are the chances if somebody out on the hill is going to have a heart attack that a hiker would need to carry with them? That's where search and rescue comes in. That's where it's imperative. That's
Yeah.
where the patient comes in.
That's true. But it's a much higher chance that somebody's gonna need Benadryl.
Yeah, if they can carry that, yeah, that would be something. But I think the average hiker would know beforehand where they're going that they would be allergic to something. I think if I would not be going up to Mount Charleston if I was totally allergic to their plant systems up there, because that just wouldn't be feasible. It's not sustainable for me to go over there. I'd rather be going over to Red Rock, where they have less chance of being allergic or getting the elements. But when you're hiking, that's the risk you take.
And you said also about ankle treatment.
So we've had
I
twice on a
I don't know about that. So
Well, we've had two people last year and this year on the Charleston series, and we're talking, at least almost close to 9,000 elevation, where people at the end of the hike, it's nearing the end of the hike, and it's usually towards the end, when you're descending and you're talking, your body's tired, your legs feel like they're rubbery, or what happens is that you get so into the conversation that you turn back to look at the person while you're going down some scree area, and your body trips forward, but your ankle doesn't. And then you can trip and fall into such a position that it cracks your ankles. You break your ankle in like 5 different places, which is what happened to a gal that we had up at Mount Charleston.
that's a serious break though.
Yeah, well, yeah, she heard it. She literally said she could hear the break. She could hear the tear, literally, as she was tripping.
Ooh.
And she tripped. She looked back talking, and then she tripped over some rock and she just fell forward. Her foot didn't, and it broke it in 5 places. We had to have a search and rescue mission. It took about 3 hours for her to be hauled out. And that's when you need the attention and all of that. And then communication that goes back, because we had walkie-talkies to go back and forth with for communication.
Yeah, but the first medical treatment that you treat for that would help it out. Amazing.
It would depend. The thing is one of the things you don't want to do if somebody has a broken ankle or you think is just not to move it. You can't move it, because then you could dislocate it even further. The thing is to do is just lift it high, and you just have to sit there and wait until, if you have hydrocodone or something like that, that'll ease off the pain. That usually lasts about a good 4 or 5 hours, depending on the system. But you don't ever want to move it. Matter of fact, you don't even want to change boots, because that actually moves it. Any slight movement would definitely mess that up. You can't do that. Yeah.
Very, 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 very similar to spinal injuries.
Yeah, that's true too. Spinal injury is a little bit more serious, though. Not that a broken ankle isn't, but I think a spinal injury is a little bit. That's big time. That's going to require some surgical movements from the rescue team if the person does suffer that. That's going to require, a stretcher or some sort of something to help mobilize, so that there's, because you want to mitigate the damage. So yeah.
All right. Well. My phone is dying for some reason. It's not charging properly on this charger. I'm gonna jump off TikTok. I'm gonna see if I can get a fast charger.
All All right. Well, thank you so much for joining in. This has been a very good talk, and so thank you so much.
Yeah, actually, I don't talk with many people this long, so
Uh, well, I'm so glad we were able to do this. All righty.
yeah, yeah.
Well, we'll see you next time.
Nice,
So
nice talking with you, sir.
you got it, and don't
Maybe,
hesitate to contact me.
yeah, maybe when I come to Vegas, I'll meet you.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we'll catch you later. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Bye.
All righty. That was a good one. That was a good talk. I wasn't sure there for about a minute, but that was actually a very good talk. So where were we? Where were we before we got into that? Hello, let's see who's in the chat room now. Does anybody else want to join real quick before I continue on? We got some more stuff. Probably about maybe a good 20 minutes before, 20 minutes more of information here to get across. Hello, everyone. Okay, maybe not. All right. Let's continue on here for about a good couple of minutes here. So what I was talking about earlier, I guess, kind of got sidetracked there. So another thing too, and this is interesting because I think one of the things, if you're hiking, and one of the things that I want to get out of the group is to check on them every once in a while. Okay, one of the things, safety awareness. So, if I'm asking you how are you doing, it's not a greeting. I'm not asking how are you today. No, how are you doing? Are you feeling sick? Are you feeling nauseous? Are you feeling tired? How are you doing? It's a wellness check. I just want to check in and gauge where you're at. And see, that's another thing too. You always want to make sure that you're going to stay with the group. Okay. Do not wander off from the group. That's the most important thing. People like to wander off, especially if they don't know the route. Oh, this looks good over here, and then they're like, they're 5 miles off course. You don't want to do that. If you wander off, you're not with the group anymore because now you've just done something totally different. You don't want to do it. Stay with the group. Be behind the organizer. Stay with the organizer, especially if you don't know the route. I had an incident several weeks ago. I was doing an exploratory, and this is one of the things that drives me nuts. And I'll be the first one to say this. I almost was tempted not to let these people on, but I kind of needed their presence to help solidify this particular hike because it's going to be one of the last hikes. And I needed some kind of information for actually pacing. Because if I had just gone alone with somebody else, I would have based the hike based off my pace, not an average group pace. And these people weren't really, I guess they're just average hikers. So I added them onto the hike, and it said the title said exploratory hike. Well, when you see the words exploratory, and you're not familiar with the route, or you are overestimating your skill level, it can be very dangerous. Especially if it's exploratory, you don't know if they're scrambling. You don't know if I'm going to be rappelling off the side of a mountain. You have no idea. And the mileage is uncertain. And so I had a hike. It was exploratory. It was out on Red Rock. It's actually the 7th hike. It's the second to the last hike. And I knew it was a strenuous hike. I had done it years prior, but I didn't have the stats for it. So I had my Garmin watch here, and I had it on hike to catch the mileage and the ascension and the elevation status on it. And it was going well for a while. I had, I noted the prescribed stops, for breaks and things like that, and group check-in. And when it started getting hot, and even I was hot, but when it started getting a little bit more difficult, the people that were with me, I guess they I guess they overestimated, or they underestimated their skill level, and they were having a hard time. And I guess, he said that if he was going to go, he wanted to bring his car. So we were carpooling, and he decided that he wanted to bring his own car in case something happened. He wouldn't be left behind. He would have his car, which is fine and dandy. I get that. But this was not an out and back. This was a loop. And I explained to him, I said, this is an exploratory hike that has a loop. We're going from point to point. We're not going back the same way. And you don't know the route. So you don't know which direction. And there's a lot of trail systems out there that you might make an accidental turn, and you're off the trail, and you're not going to be back at the same place that you once started. It'll be totally different. And I guess the reason is, he said, well, I kind of wanted to do it anyway, and you needed a pass, and all that. Well, no, your health is more important than anything else. You don't have to join in just because you committed to something like this. And the individual started wandering. So during the hike, he started wandering off. And I say, no, you don't wander off. If you don't know the route, why would you wander off? You can't do that. You have to follow the organizer. That's the whole point. Because I'm not leaving anybody. Because I'm not leaving anybody behind, doesn't mean I'm going to continue on. And it's your issue. If you decide to wander off, you've left the group. You have officially left the group. Because that's not the way we're going. This is an exploratory hike for me to get the stats, not for you to do your own thing. If you wanted to do your own thing, maybe, perhaps, in my own view, you should have just gone on alone. That way you're not putting us at risk to find you if something were to happen. So sometimes there could be a little bit of liability there, but you know what? Look, I hate to pull rank, but I'm the organizer. Don't go wandering off. So, I mean, the hike, these individuals did the hike. They did well for what it was worth. But, there are a few standard protocols you do when you're joining a hike. And one of them is you don't wander off and make up your own route. Because, even though that we had the walkie-talkies, what if you did wander off just a slight and you're behind? And I walk pretty fast. But again, I'm not neither here or there for that. Anyway, stay with the group. Don't go wandering off by yourself. The only reason I would think that you would ever wander off unbeknownst, and see, that's a lot of people do that. They just wander off without telling anybody, and then it's like, okay, where the hell did this person go? Well, not my problem anymore. Let somebody know. Let somebody know from get-go. I'm going over here. Oh, that's fine, but you've left the group. Or that's fine, but we're moving on. That's it. We're not waiting. Yeah. Just make sure that whatever you do, you have to have communication between you and the organizer, or you and a person who has a walkie-talkie. Make sure that whoever you're with has a walkie-talkie for communication. Because otherwise, if that person stops to wait for you, the sweeper stops and waits for you, and there's no walkie-talkie, or there's no communication, that's two people now that are left behind, and you've just now risked somebody else's safety. You don't want to do that. That's not good. The third thing, actually, on the walkie-talkies, this is another thing too. And we might actually have to do another show on this, because this is fascinating. And also, I want to hear some other stories that people are sharing. Hello. Oh, let's see, who's this? Hello, how are you? I said hi to Shazaya. Yep. Let's see if anybody's trying to get in. Nope. Okay. If you have a story to share in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to be ending this show here, and then we might actually do another show, because I'm just kind of giving the basics here today. So if you're anybody who knows how to, well, not everybody knows how to handle a walkie-talkie, but one of the things that you do when you're communicating with a walkie-talkie, don't just, start talking. You have to identify yourself. Always identify yourself. Hey, this is, and I think I said this at the very beginning, because then we know who's talking. Because there's a lot of times where the walkie-talkies can have a lot of chatter outside our group because it connects to, I think, it connects to other channels out there. Let's see, we have Franklin here. You know what? Let's do this. We have somebody here in the next 5 minutes. Let's see here. Hello.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hello.
And what is your name?
I'm still from Africa. Frank. My
Mark?
name is Frank.
Oh, Frank. Nice to meet you, Frank. How are you?
Yes. Yeah, my name.
Yeah. We're talking
I'm
about,
good. What about you?
huh? What is it?
So what about you? Where are you streaming from?
Oh, I'm from Las
Where are
Vegas.
you? Like, where are you streaming from?
Las Vegas.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. We're talking about Tales of the Trails.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what about? So tell me more about your program.
So right now
Oh,
we're
wow,
talking about
that's
Tales
good.
of the Trails. We're
So
talking
tell me
about, huh?
about. So tell me more about that.
Right. So we're talking about Tales of the Trails. We're talking about
I say you should tell
trail
me more about
etiquette.
that.
We're talking about hiking, and we're talking about all the things that you should be doing for hiking. I'm going to be doing a series coming up pretty soon. So I'm just kind of giving a brief introduction into hiking for those who are not familiar with the trail. And I'm inviting people on if they want to discuss, if they have an experience, or if they have a tip, or if they have anything on their own regarding hiking. Do you have any experience? Do you hike?
Oh, that is interesting.
It's a what? Nope, you don't.
I don't have much experience about that. Man.
Right.
I don't have much. I don't have experience about that, but I would love to have interest in it.
All right. Well,
I would love
yeah.
to have interest in it.
Yeah. All right. Well,
There's something.
yeah.
There's one thing about.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. And oh, I guess not. Guess he kind of went out on that one. That was weird. I guess we do have people like that. So why don't we do this? Because I'm almost out of time, and I do kind of want to continue this, but we've got some other shows that we're going to, other information that we do need to get to. Maybe I'll continue this maybe next week, maybe not, who knows. But I think we've got just enough here to get you guys aware here. So in the next couple of days, and I just want to thank all the viewers here for coming on. And this has been an exciting show here today. So thank you guys for coming on, and I want you to hit follow. There's going to be more shows. Today, of course, was not paranormal like I would normally do. I just wanted to get this across because of my hike this last weekend. So that kind of this kind of took precedence, and I've always kind of wanted to do a show like this. So. And it's also fun to hear some stories from other people, their experiences on the trail and what affected them, and what got them into hiking, what their experiences are. So that's going to be exciting too. Anyway, I'm going to be doing a show, I think, on Thursday. We'll be doing some more paranormal shows coming up. I've got information coming up. I've got one on Facebook. It might be uncomfortable. It might not be. But I did some deep research, and that'll be fun too. So thank you guys for joining. It's been fantastic. It has been wonderful. And until next time, keep yourself safe. And thank you for joining in on The Truth on Trial. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Bye.